first of all, I want to thank my weeks ago the Senator Earl Breen O'Donnell and Mairead in our office team for putting this motion together. We're disappointed to government, but we're not surprised. And Minister, before I even get into the substance of the motion, a couple of questions of clarification. You might answer, because you just mentioned there in your address that the ones off the grant for first-time buyer, it has to be a new house. It can't be a second-hand house. It has to be a first-time buyer house.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, that's not what I understood from you. And Minister, in your own county of Limerick, Deputy Dunn has asked me to ask this about the log cabin with a timber finish. You know, under the Limerick area plan, these are not allowed with timber finish. They have to be finished with mortar or plaster or slate or something else. So why all the different?
It's something we'll look at. Something we'll look at. It's something we'll look at.
Well, so we're looking at everything. The Minister also said, give a cast-on guarantee before he fled the chamber, and it's most disappointing from our point of view as a small group of Yoga, that the Minister will never wait to reply. No disrespect to your good self, but he's the Minister for Housing. He makes announcement after announcement after announcement. I attended the Irish Council Social Housing AGM last week, only out in the hotel there beside Houston. Could he attend? No, on Zoom. Those people with the 350 affiliated bodies contribute hugely and build houses and have their amount of work fee and do it where other, your own county councils, others can't do it. And he fled off like snow off a ditch, again gone. He said that to Deputy Hilary Ray, and he clarified at the end of his contribution, that the local authorities will get an instruction today. They'll receive it tomorrow, it's going out today. You're saying you're working, or I don't know what exact phrase you're putting it, but you're endeavouring to have that out. Why make this big announcement in a blaze of glory without any consultation? Council telling everyone they don't know, they have got no circular, they've got no information. And then to hear last week 74 housing projects that were stalled because they ran out of money because of the overruns and costs. Anyone, if you picked a person that was blind and deaf, he'd know that the costs had gone up hugely and this should be anticipated. And now they have to wait several months for a reply from your department to get extra funds, even to get the bag. Your department is clogging up the whole thing, along with the planning regulator, along with the LDA, all these agencies that were never there when I was a member of the county council, and they were never there. We built houses and we hadn't those kind of red tape, and I could say you start with a B and finish with a T. I won't say what it was. That's what it is. Paper up and down the country. The Minister also said there was 830 clusters, not clusters, villages, I call them, or hamlets, villages mainly, in some quite big towns, with no sewage treatment plants. It's a shame on you. And you're persecuting farmers, households with septic tanks, big fill in his septic tank charge, and the dirty polluter was the local authorities themselves, and in Bray here and in the cities of Dublin and everywhere else. And also, can I also say that you're the same now, you've been found out, you're trying to demonise the farmers and the rural people for CO2 pollution. And you found out who the polluters are. Front page paper last week, we all know who they are. The big people, they won't be touched. So big is wonderful with you, and it's wonderful with your government, and that's all you want. And it proves how interested you are in our motions this morning, that just for a minute, or maybe 3 minutes, one backbencher arrived there behind you, or junior minister, I'm not sure, and nobody else came in from any of the government parties, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, the Greens, or indeed other independents that support you on a regular basis. So that tells it all. That tells it all. Got the enemy faster than I'm in. Where are the members? Ashamed to come in because they know that your policy is an abject failure. They know that it's all bluster and bluff and baloney and reports and investigations. I spent 5 years on the Housing Committee, and honest to God, I couldn't wait to get off it. Because if reports and if investigations and documents and bringing in people before us to build houses, we'd have surplus of houses in this country. People would everyone have a house for themselves. That's the way it would be. But no, that's not real politics what's happening. And I have to then address my good friends on the learned of the left who would like to lecture us all, especially Deputy Paul Murphy and his crew. What do you call them? Everyone that implies someone that has a development company is a bad person, is a con man, or is a robber. That's an awful attitude. And someone needs to get him to rehabilitate it, to understand what a builder is and what he does, and that we can't have a house without builders. And then to get the lecture from the Labour Party, who abolished town councils, and wringing their fingers now about it today, that again, some of our cowboy builders were going to take advantage of what we're doing. We live in the real world. This is an honest effort in our motion to try and get people in rural area to solve part of the housing crisis, not be negative all the time. We were putting forward a process of proposal. I have at least 10 people in South Tipperary who have log cabins, one shape or another built. One poor man is in a separation situation, a marriage breakup. The house had to be sold. He got a mobile home, bought a site, put it onto it, and he built the most spectacular log finish all around it. Now enforcement notice dragged to the courts. He asked me, where's he going to go? Down under the main garden, the other homeless people. And there's several cases. I have another young barber who got one up here in County Wicklow. He bought it, put it behind his father and mother's house, very delicately and sensibly placed and fitted into the landscape. He's going out the same entrance all his life. Oh, the TAI have a problem with the entrance. He's going out there anyway every day. He's into his own sewerage system, which is going there anyway every day. So, looking for problems. TII and NRA. We decommissioned the IRA, and we can't decommission the NRA. We can't get rid of them. And then we added the TII down on top of them. And I'm not going to call them any, the good people out of them as well, but the power they have is simply astounding. And the dictates that they give to councils, and they won't build the roads, or they won't do this and that. It's like the man one time, he was dating 2 different women in my parish. They're all dead now, I can say it. And he went to the stage this night, to the stage in Ballymacarbery. The stage, no I'm not, the stage in this is Fado. And one of them was Catty and one of them was Kitty. They're all gone to their eternal reward. And none of them turned up that night. He said, I've neither a kitty nor a cat tonight. I have nobody but myself. The TI want everything. They won't build the roads. And Minister Ryan, well, you're welcome to talk to me. She knows some of the folklore from Tipperary. Her mother been from Tipperary as well. But anyway, the TI won't build the roads. And they sterilise a 5 kilometre wide area of it. And you can't build a hen house. You could hardly put up a flag the day of a match when we can't go to see the match now, or we can't see the television. With the more corporate engagement that you have here, it's shocking what you're presiding over here in this government. It's a move away from the rural people. I don't know who reminded you of an old woman living beside Deborah Lair's house in Brewery, and all the old people that we represent. And they built, and they lived in hovels, and they built in great big families of 10 and 12 and 14, and no bathrooms. And now they have 4 bathrooms, some of the big houses, and no children. And if you got your way, there'd be no people in rural Ireland. We want to say proudly that we are supporting people living in rural Ireland. We're not for breaking any laws. We want sensible moratorium to be given to people for the log cabins, and they're being added quality, and they're all sustainable and environmentally friendly. And a moratorium here, give us a chance. I can remember here when you closed all the bed sets in Dublin. It wasn't your government, it was a different government. An act of lunacy. Because over 1,000 people had roofs over their heads that didn't have the night after. Oh, all mad rush for this legislation. But the same people now on the left were clamouring that these weren't suitable. They were covering people's, people had roofs over their heads. So we've all legislation now, and we've all the pious platitudes, and then the objections to all the houses is sickening by certain people in here, and they don't want the kitty nor the catty. They never have anything because they don't understand the value of work. They don't understand what a shovel is. They don't know what a foundation is, they don't know what mic is, they don't know what a block is, they don't know what a roof tile is, and they don't care either. But we care. And just because some of us might be involved in construction, we get demonised as cowboys and self-interest. Our interest is to house our people. A noble gesture that Liam Lynch died 100 years ago for. Michael Collins and all our forefathers, Pádraig Pearse and all, to right to self-determination, a home, and to live it and eke out a bit of our land on our farm, small farm, which Deputy McNamara said it there as well. 40 acres is not viable now anymore. It's the hell out to Dublin now, not Connacht. The hell out to Dublin, in here with all the problems that we have. And then on top of it all, we decide to bring in open borders, bring in 200,000, $250,000 on top of it. My goodness, the men in the white coats would have come here long ago if things hadn't changed. You closed all the mental institutions, and they'd have a lot of us gone out of this place and gone off and put somewhere that we would be taught to think. And taught to think of the unanticipated consequences of legislation that's passed here and clamoured looking for here, and the folly of it all. Let the people of rural Ireland build their houses who are able to do it, not asking the state for anything, only for a document, as Deputy Healy Ray said, to give them planning. I'm not saying reckless planning. Give them a moratorium. Allow them to house themselves. Allow them to contribute to their schools, their GA clubs, soccer clubs, churches, mass meetings, whatever, political parties. You won't have any money because they don't know where to live. and they won't be at home to Candlefield. And what will be at home will be waiting in the long grass when it grows, and you'll be waiting for you, and the Pion Louis will be sharp, and there'll be ever and naught put down behind your names. And why wouldn't they? Because ye had naught and zero interest in them. You're elected to represent them, but you're more interested in representing global politics now, not the people of Rhode Island. I come in and I'm pushing this motion to a vote. Good.